My dad and my stepmother got married when I was 9, and I am now 17 years old. They have 3 kids together. My mom died when I was 8, but my parents were already divorced, and I think my dad was already dating my stepmother at that point. Either that or they rushed the relationship because they assumed I would need a new mom because mine died. It was a crazy as heck time. My dad and stepmother decided we needed therapy together because she was struggling and wanted to communicate some stuff to the two of us that she had not before. In therapy, she started off talking about how she feels like she's second best or a consolation prize with me. She feels like I see her as less than a parent, less than a mother, and it hurts. She talked about marrying my dad, expecting we would be so close, and how she believed a newly motherless child would need someone else to fill in. But throughout the entire time we've known each other, she feels like I do nothing but compare her to mom or dismiss her in favor of mom and leave her in second place a lot. She said she wanted to be more important to me than that. She wanted to be like a mom in my eyes. She didn't want to feel like I would gladly toss her aside if my mom came back. I'll say now, in therapy, she was called out for that. She was told it was cruel to toss that in my face when I am old enough to be aware my mom is never coming back. She spoke for several sessions about feeling second best or like the consolation prize and like I don't care for her at all. She brought up how I never hug her or how I correct anyone who mistakes her for my mom. Another thing was the fact I have never said I love you to her. She noticed that, and she said many times she waited and waited for me to say it, but it never came. She talked about how every mention of my mom hurts her down to her core because she can hear how much I love my mom. She admitted to hating my mom, to wanting to wave a magic wand and have me forget her so she's not always coming in second to her. There were lots more things said too. I was asked to address what she said for several sessions, but I knew it might come across as cruel if I did. So I refused to engage. But my dad kept pressing me on the issue, and the counselor was trying to reassure me that I would not be penalized for speaking up. After a lot of pressing, and then my stepmother got involved and told me to speak because we needed to work through this, and she needed me to acknowledge her feelings and work on us coming together, I was honest. I said she was never second best or a consolation prize because she was never in the running. I never saw her as mom. I never considered her to be a possible new or second mom. I never ever looked at her in that way or wanted her to be that for me, and that she was always competing against my dead mom for nothing. My dad and stepmother were so angry after I said all this. 2 weeks later, and it was mentioned in therapy, but they're still furious with me. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the jerk at all. It's great when a step-parent can bond with their stepkid and form a healthy, agreed-upon relationship. That is not what she has done. Your dad's wife is completely delusional, and what she said about your mom, wishing she could make you forget, is absolutely crossing a line. You have a mother you love. Just because she can't physically be here doesn't take anything from the love you have for her or the fact that she is your mom, not dad's wife. I'm so sorry your dad is taking her side when he should be on your side. You have done nothing wrong at all. She needs to understand your feelings so she can approach you differently. Everything you said in therapy is completely fair and valid. Don't let them make you think or feel otherwise. She may want to hear you say, I love you, but unless you mean it, the words mean nothing, and saying it just to appease her would be dishonest. I'm sorry for your loss though, and I hope your dad's wife is able to learn and understand boundaries with you better. Comment 2. Not the jerk. They pushed for an answer and you gave an honest one. They don't have a right to be angry at you because they didn't like your response. I am a stepmother and I have no children of my own. My stepdaughter treats me like a friend, a confidant if she wants one, and I help her to navigate situations with a different perspective. However, she has a mother. She doesn't need two, and I would never try to undermine that. I don't understand these blended families where the step-parent insists that they want equal status as a biological parent, especially where the biological parent is deceased, and then get upset when the child resents them for it. Now for the update. Hey there, thanks for the update. It's been a hectic few days since our last therapy session, and I've got a lot to fill you in on. After I dropped that shocker about how I never saw my stepmom as a mother figure, things got pretty tense at home. My dad and stepmom barely spoke to me, and when they did, it was just to bark orders or make snide comments. I could tell they were both still fuming over what I'd said, but I didn't know how to fix it. A couple of days later, my stepmom cornered me in the kitchen while I was making a sandwich. She started going off about how ungrateful I was and how much she'd sacrificed for me over the years. She said she'd given up her dream job to be a stay-at-home mom for me and my half-siblings, and that I'd never appreciated any of it. I tried to explain that I was grateful for everything she'd done, but that it didn't change the fact that she wasn't my mom. That's when she dropped a news of her own. Apparently, when my dad first introduced us, he'd told her that I was desperate for a new mom and that I'd welcome her with open arms. She said she felt like he'd lied to her and tricked her into a situation she wasn't prepared for. I was shocked. I couldn't believe my dad would say something like that, especially when it wasn't true at all. I confronted him about it later that night, and he admitted that he might have exaggerated a bit to make the transition easier for everyone. He said he thought if my stepmom believed I needed her, she'd be more willing to take on the role of mother. I was furious. I felt like my dad had betrayed me and set me up for failure with my stepmom from the very beginning. I told him as much, and we got into a huge argument. He accused me of being selfish and not considering how hard the situation was for him and my stepmom. I shot back that he was the one who'd been selfish by lying to both of us and expecting me to just forget about my mom. Things only got worse from there. My stepmom started giving me the silent treatment, and my dad was constantly on my case about every little thing. I felt like I couldn't do anything right in their eyes anymore. The final straw came when I overheard my stepmom talking to my dad about sending me to live with my grandparents for a while. She said she needed a break from all the drama and that maybe some time apart would be good for everyone. My dad seemed to be considering it. I was devastated. I couldn't believe they were actually thinking about shipping me off like some unwanted pet. I confronted them about it, and they didn't even try to deny it. My stepmom said she was at her wit's end and didn't know what else to do. My dad said he thought it might be a good opportunity for me to gain some perspective. I lost it. I started screaming at them about how they were the ones who needed perspective and how I was done trying to live up to their impossible expectations. I told them I was moving out as soon as I turned 18 and that they'd never have to deal with me again. It's been a few days since then, and things are still really tense. I'm not sure where we go from here, but I know one thing for sure. I'm not going to let them make me feel like I'm the problem anymore. I miss my mom more than ever, and I wish she was here to help me through this. But I know I have to be strong and stand up for myself, even if it means losing my dad and stepmom in the process. Anyway, thanks for listening. It helps to get it all out there, even if I don't have any easy answers. I'll keep you posted on how things go from here. Am I the idiot for blowing up at my husband over a surprise camping trip? For the past month, my husband, 27-year-old male, and I, 28-year-old female, have been in a rut. We've been arguing about so many trivial things. Last week, he randomly asked me if I liked eating s'mores. I said I don't care for them, and rarely do I ever crave them. He then asked me what I thought of cabins and camping. I told him I don't care for either, to be honest, and the only way I would go camping is if it was a glamping experience. He nodded and said noted. Today he tells me to be ready and dressed by 4 p.m. because we have a date planned. I put on a cute outfit because all he told me was we have a special date planned. Any other time he said that, the date usually involves us going out to a fancy restaurant. So I put on a skirt, some heels, and a top. He sees my outfit, doesn't say anything. The only thing I noticed that was odd was that he brought his backpack with him. I asked him why, and he said that he just wanted to put his hoodie somewhere in case it got cold later. We get into the car, and 20 minutes into the drive, I ask him how far is the restaurant we're going to. He smiles and says, about an hour. I pull up my phone and start responding to some work emails to unalive time. And then when we arrived at our destination, I honestly got so upset. It was a super tiny trailer in the middle of the West Virginia woods. There was a small picnic table outside and just woods. I ask him what we were doing there, and he turns to me and says, "Surprise! We're having a couples retreat. Do you like it?" I walk inside the trailer, and mind you, my husband knows I am extremely claustrophobic. There is no room inside this trailer. I start panicking because A, I need physical space B. I'm in heels and a skirt in the middle of the woods. He packed PJs, his toothbrush, and a change of clothes, but didn't think to tell me I'd be needing anything for this date. At that point, I just blatantly asked him, "Have I ever expressed any interest in camping to you?" He said no, and then I followed up with, "You know how much I hate small spaces? What made you think I'd enjoy this? I just really want to understand?" He didn't say anything. I told him I appreciated the gesture, but I could not for the life of me figure out how he thought planning this in the way he did was going to help get us out of a rut. This isn't the first time he's planned something for me that I hated. And the worst thing, I've told him before, if I've never expressed interest in something, to please not gift it to me or plan a date around it. I do a very good job at giving him extremely thoughtful gifts and planning him very thoughtful dates/experiences. And today I told him that it just seems like there isn't any consideration for me in that regard. Am I the jerk for reacting the way that I did? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I'm bewildered by the idea of him planning a camping/outdoor/overnight type of event, not even hinting that you dressing up for going out to dinner was a problem, and not bringing along any toiletries or extra clothing for you. What was going on in this man's brain? I'm going to bring my wife out into the woods in inappropriate clothing and with nothing for her to change into or sleep in, and she's going to be happy about it. I don't necessarily mind camping, but this entire experience would feel disrespectful and piss me off. Comment 2. Does he have an ounce of respect for you? You actively told him you would not enjoy this experience, and he said noted and then took you anyway to the most half-assed camping plan with no proper packing or toiletries? Are you kidding? I would cry my eyes out and go wait in the car to go home. The complete lack of saying anything when he saw your outfit is what gets me too. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks so much for your comments and support on my last post. It really means a lot to me. So it's been a week since the whole trailer fiasco, and let me tell you, it's been quite the ride. After the initial shock and frustration, I decided to have a heart-to-heart with my husband. I explained to him how his surprise date made me feel and how it seemed like he wasn't considering my feelings or preferences. He listened intently and apologized, admitting that he got carried away with the idea of a couple's retreat and didn't think it through. We spent the next few days trying to reconnect and understand each other better. It wasn't easy, but we both put in the effort. One evening, while we were talking, he suddenly got quiet and looked at me with a serious expression. He confessed that he had been feeling insecure about our relationship and was worried that I wasn't happy with him anymore. I was taken aback because I had no idea he felt this way. As we delved deeper into the conversation, I realized that my husband's insecurities stemmed from his childhood. He grew up in a family where his parents were always fighting and eventually got divorced. He told me that he was terrified of losing me and that he thought planning grand gestures like the trailer date would somehow prove his love and keep me from leaving. I reassured him that I loved him and that I wasn't going anywhere. I also emphasized the importance of open communication and how we needed to be honest with each other about our feelings and needs. It was a tough conversation, but it brought us closer together. A few days later, my husband surprised me again, but this time in a good way. He had planned a date that was tailored to my interests. We went to a fancy restaurant, followed by a movie I had been wanting to see. It was perfect, and I could tell he had put a lot of thought into it. However, just when things seemed to be looking up, we hit another bump in the road. My husband's job was going through some changes, and there were rumors of layoffs. He was stressed and worried about our financial stability. I tried to be supportive, but I could see how much it was affecting him. One night, he came home late from work, looking exhausted and defeated. He told me that his boss had called him into his office and gave him an ultimatum. He had to either take on a project that would require him to work long hours and travel frequently, or risk losing his job. It was a tough decision, and we both knew that it could either make or break our financial situation. After much discussion and weighing the pros and cons, my husband decided to take on the project. It was a risk, but we both agreed that it was worth it in the long run. The next few weeks were challenging, with my husband working late nights and traveling for days at a time. I tried my best to be understanding and supportive, but it wasn't easy. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the project was completed, and my husband's hard work paid off. His boss was impressed with his dedication and offered him a promotion. We were both thrilled and relieved that the risk had paid off. Looking back on the past week, I realized that our relationship had been tested in more ways than one. We had faced challenges and obstacles, but we had also grown stronger and closer because of them. I learned that communication, understanding, and support were key to a healthy and happy relationship. As we sat on the couch, cuddling and reflecting on everything that had happened, I couldn't help but feel grateful for my husband and our relationship. We had been through a lot, but we had come out on the other side stronger and more in love than ever. Thanks for reading, everyone. It's been a wild week, but I'm glad we made it through. Am I the idiot for being kicked out as backstage parent? By my stepdaughter's mom, who suddenly wants in. I have been taking my 9-year-old stepdaughter to dance classes for 4 years. I drive her every week. My husband, her dad, and I pay for every single fee associated with her dance school. This year, her end-of-year recital lands on her mother's custodial time. Her mom has committed to taking her to the show. I volunteered to be the backstage parent, managing the class backstage when they're not performing, helping with hair and makeup, etc. I did this for the last 2 recitals, and my stepdaughter loves having me there to hang out and support her. The dance school reached out yesterday to tell me that my stepdaughter's mother asked them to remove me as the backstage parent and put her in. They agreed to do it without discussing it with me first because she basically told them it was her custodial right. To be clear, nothing in their court order says anything that would prevent me from being able to be around her, even though she's not in Dad's custody. Mom and I have a history of high conflict. I believe she is trying to remove me because she doesn't want me spending any extra quality time with her daughter. She simply hates me and my husband. If you are wondering, I have nothing to do with why she and my husband never worked out. I could bow out and accept this because I'm not the biological parent, but it breaks my heart because I love being there, and dance is my thing with my stepdaughter. Would I be the jerk if I reminded the school who their paying customer is and asked them to go back on the decision and advocate for me? I want to fight back and give them all the context so they can understand why I have the right to be there. But I also don't want more conflict with Mom, who would be upset if the school has my back. If you are wondering, I don't think she would go to the lengths of not taking her to the recital over this, because she has to know that would be devastating to her daughter, who's worked hard to prepare for her performance. I'm not sure what the best way for all of this to play out would be. Thank you so much for your judgments. I'm all ears. Update: I called the dance school, but not to have them change their decision. I gave them all the context. I should have clarified in my OP that she lied to them and implied I wasn't legally allowed to be there on her time, which is not true. The owner of the school says he feels completely manipulated by her mom. He apologized. He offered to make it right and said he and his wife, co-owner, were comfortable with reaching out to Mom and telling her that I am the backstage mom. They also said it would never happen again. I told them that I really appreciated that they are owning up to how it went down. But I told them that I would rather take the high road and leave it at that. I told them not to reach out to Mom. Let her have it. I also apologized to them for having to deal with drama that should have been handled by our family privately. The only thing that matters to me is that my stepdaughter has a wonderful experience. I could have won this, but if that would have created even an inkling of stress for my SD on her big day, it wouldn't be worth it. My plan is to tell my SD, hey, I know I said I'd be backstage this year, but great news. Your mom wants to do it. You guys will have so much fun together. I'm glad she will be there for you. Then I'll be in the audience with a bouquet of flowers and a huge smile on my face. Thanks to everyone here, even the jerks LOL now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot, whatever you decide, you're paying, you're the one who takes her to dance class, so it's perfectly reasonable to want to be there backstage with her. But asking the school to remove Bio Mom now would likely cause a lot of drama. If it were me, I would speak to whoever is in charge of the school and let them know if they replace you without calling again, your money will go to a different school. You seem to care a lot about your stepdaughter, and that's commendable. I should warn you, this subreddit has a hate hard-on for evil stepmoms, so that will likely reflect in your responses here. But you seem to be doing a great job. Sit this one out in the audience and lay down the law with the dance school for the future. Comment 2. Everyone sucks here. You should attend the recital and kindly explain to your stepdaughter that you will be there, but her mom wants to be the backstage mom. Don't drive a wedge between them, and make sure your stepdaughter knows you still love and support her. Don't alienate her from mom. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks so much for reading my last post and for all your support and advice. It really means a lot to me. The past 3 days have been quite eventful, to say the least. After much deliberation, I decided to take a risk and have a heart-to-heart conversation with my stepdaughter's mom. I knew it could either make or break the situation, but I felt it was necessary to clear the air and try to find a solution that would work for everyone, especially my stepdaughter. I approached the conversation with an open mind and a genuine desire to understand her perspective. To my surprise, she was receptive to the discussion. As we talked, it became clear that her decision to remove me as the backstage parent stemmed from her own insecurities and fears of being replaced in her daughter's life. She confessed that seeing the strong bond I had developed with her daughter through dance made her feel inadequate as a mother. This revelation was a turning point in our relationship. I reassured her that my intention was never to replace her, but rather to support and love her daughter in my own way. I shared stories of my own childhood, revealing how my parents' divorce had left me feeling torn between two households and how I had always wished for a step-parent who would embrace me as their own. I explained that I saw my role as a bonus parent, someone who could offer additional love and support without diminishing her importance in her daughter's life. As we continued to talk, we discovered that we had more in common than we realized. We both wanted what was best for my stepdaughter and were willing to put aside our differences for her sake. We agreed to work together to ensure that she had a positive experience at the recital and beyond. Over the next few days, we took steps to rebuild our relationship. We started by attending my stepdaughter's dance rehearsals together, cheering her on from the sidelines. We even grabbed coffee afterwards and had a genuine conversation about our hopes and dreams for her future. It was during one of these conversations that my stepdaughter's mom revealed a hidden talent for sewing. She offered to create a custom costume for the recital, something that would make my stepdaughter feel extra special on her big day. As the recital approached, I could see the positive impact our newfound understanding was having on my stepdaughter. She was more relaxed and excited than ever, knowing that both her mom and I would be there to support her. On the day of the recital, we worked together seamlessly, helping with hair and makeup, offering words of encouragement, and ensuring that everything ran smoothly backstage. When my stepdaughter took the stage, she shone like a star. Her performance was flawless, and the pride on her face was clear. As she took her final bow, her mom and I stood side by side in the wings, tears of joy streaming down our faces. At that moment, I knew that the risk I had taken in reaching out to her mom had paid off. We had not only found a way to coexist, but had also forged a new bond based on our shared love for this incredible little girl. Looking back, I realized that this experience has taught me the importance of communication, empathy, and the power of putting aside differences for the sake of a child. It hasn't been an easy journey, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to grow and learn alongside my stepdaughter and her mom. I know there will be more challenges ahead, but I'm confident that we can face them together, united in our love and support for this amazing young dancer. Thank you all for reading and for your continued support. It means the world to me. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.